Today we have you all just watched the film Songs for a Fox, and the director of the film, Kristijonas Vildžiūnas, here is with us, and basically we talked with Kristijonas that the most important thing is actually what you think about the film. So I'm not gonna ask a lot of questions. I'll maybe ask one or two, and you should already think about the questions, and let's just talk all together. Let's get a conversation. But first, maybe, I just want to ask you like a very simple question. We all know already what the film is about, but maybe you could give a little more, prehistory to it. When and how, you came up with the idea to make a film, kind of a contemporary version of Orpheus and Eurydice myth, based in Lithuania. On the other hand, the film that is dealing with the question of loss and life and death through the medium of dreams. How did you come up with this idea, and what was the process that led to, production of the film?
It's every time it is layered. Ideas. It's not coming like in one piece. It is scattered in time. And the first layer is I was 20 years ago was a lucid dreamer by myself, and I used to live at night, and the day was just to record my dreams and to speculate what I had. So I had 4 or 5 wake-ups during the nights to record brief notes. Then I would wake up in the morning and I would sit on a computer and write it down in the detail. It took like 2-3 hours, and then it was the rest of my day to do my other duties. So, and this is the first layer, and I thought it would be very, very interesting to make a movie about dreams, about this dreaming, lucid dreaming, but then it was impossible, near to impossible, because if I would communicate my idea, then everybody would say, producers would say that no, dreams in a movie, no, it's impossible. No, nobody would buy it, nobody would be interested in. But then gradually the situation changed, because especially after Inception, and it somehow became possible to speak about dreams in cinema. The other layer is my personal life and what I experienced. I didn't experience loss by myself, like my character, but I was near to experience it, and my imagination fulfilled the gap. Fortunately, the gap that I didn't get that experience, and then it was how to somehow I started to think lucid dreaming and the story about the man who lost his beloved somehow is connected, but how? And I started. I remember the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, and somehow all the things started to fall into one piece. Like there is ancient sayings that sleep is a little death, and the dreams are. There is some ancient. I don't know. It's ancient. Thought that what you experience after the death is akin to dreams. It looks like dream. So it went all together, and it's how it formed
It's funny that you mentioned Inception, because of course probably all of us can't help but thought about Inception at some point. But also, I was thinking about some rich history of European cinema with Buñuel, Fellini, who were like trying to deal with the question of dreaming and like erasing the separation between death and life. And we had like in Lithuania for, decades, films that would touch upon death and, the loss, and those films are, as we know, kind of very metaphysical, contemplative, and in a way almost, embracing sometimes the death. And I felt like it's very interesting. This film you made, it's on the one hand is in that tradition. On the other hand, and you said before the conversation to me that you thought specifically about younger generation, and I myself watching these films, I know the actors, and I like kind of recognize like a contemporary, like the generation I'm like friends with. So maybe this is another question I have, like in terms of like setting everything. You did this intentional decision to, make a film about young people who are also very recognizable in kind of contemporary landscape of Lithuania, like entrepreneurs, people who work, create in creative things, but also do, like commercial things, and it's all mixed, all about fashion, all about the, devices and things that are kind of really, makes the life of younger generation of Lithuanians now. Why this generation, and how, maybe you build this world around them?
First of all, the movie is about rebellion, rebellion against death. The main character is not accepting death. It's not a movie about grief. It's not about movie. It's about rebellion. He do not accept. He just reject death, and it's very childish in a way, very sincere, because little kids, they don't understand death. I know examples. For example, two boys, they lost their father, and they do not understand that. They say, oh, maybe father will come tomorrow, maybe father will come today to visit us. No, your father is dead, but they don't understand that. It's very natural for young, for children. Somehow they don't understand this. And the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice is also about rebellion against death. And Orpheus must have been young man. I mean, the spirit of this rebellion is it belongs to young people. I mean, all the people, they, in a way, they must have come into terms with death. But young people, they couldn't. I suspect, and the old myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, it seems like it is about that. And then when you mentioned the social sphere of how those young people look like in Lithuania, yeah, they look like similar like to in other countries. So it's just a young man, musician, and also working in the creative industry, but so he is in the place of Orpheus. He's rebelling against death. He's not accepting that.
Talking about rebellion and sort of following you up, I also, again, I couldn't help but thought about you yourself specifically, and I don't know how many people know, because of a soundtrack and because of a band that is music that's being played in the film. It's a band you created, and you were one of the two leading people. The band was functioning actively, like playing in the late 80s and 90s, right? And it's called the Šiaurės kryptis, in direction north, maybe? I don't know what's
north direction.
North direction. So, like, I mean, I first listened to this to your band's songs maybe like 10, 15 years ago, when it was not actually actively playing anymore, but this sense of rebellion was there all the time. So it's maybe a question, like I think people might be interested to know a little more about the band itself, which I think one of the most important rock bands, like quite one of the few from that period, but also why it's uh, again kind of resurrected in the film.
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't play, but because it's Orpheus again. Orpheus was a musician, and we needed music. We needed songs, and they said, "Why not write it?" Because I wrote with my bandmate. We wrote music for my previous movie, and but it was old songs recreated, and now we faced the task to, okay, we can write new songs, let's try. Again, we find the young people, trio, they called Timid Cookie band in Lithuania, who helped us to record everything. And yeah, we recorded the songs, and when the songs were ready, we started shooting, and the songs were the basement of the feeling. All the crew listened to the songs, and yeah, we understand what we need to do. We feel that. It was yeah, it was just the basement of everything. Yeah.
I have a few more questions, but maybe you already want to ask something, so let's open it up. Anybody?
Songs for a Fox. Because he buried her in this fox cave. Yes. She was wearing a dead fox fur, yeah. But the fox in his dream is alive, and the fox represents for him somehow her spirit. Maybe, I don't know. You just need to guess. I don't know.
Talking about foxes and bears and all the other wild animals, I didn't know that, honestly, and I saw on the ending titles that animals footage was shot by Mindaugas Survila, and I believe the audience here have seen his film that was shown here called Ancient Forest. This is like an animal nature filmmaker, right? Yeah, it really surprised me, and maybe you could tell more about this cooperation with Mindaugas.
Oh yeah. It goes to many eyes. I needed more eyes than I need the representation of the eye, because if you saw the poster, it looks like an eye. The main character is looking into the cave. The cave is a little bit oval, yeah, and then it looks like an eye. And I needed a representation of the eyes. Who is looking at whom in the movie? Because it is quite many of points of view. Because you don't really sure who is watching him. Nature, animals, and who is creating the story, and who is creating dreams. If the dreams is just a production of a brain, or is something else, and how is all connected, and maybe we're living in a dream within a dream. And so I wanted to stress the points of view, many points of view. And animals, I think they just represent pure look. They just look, and we just amazed how I'm always amazed how animals, when I'm looking in animal eye, they just seeing, but what they seeing, I don't know what they see. You never could be sure what they see, if they see the same as we, or maybe they see different pictures. So I needed those animals. Those animals looking at the main character, and they are watching him, but it goes into unknown, what they see and what we see and what he see, and because the main character like he dissolves in his dreams, he's starting to dissolve, and we kind of start to lose him because he dissolves in that inner universe. So I needed those just symbols of eyes. And I asked Mindaugas to shoot animals. He said he was very, very enthusiastic, and he said, "Yeah, what animals? What kind of animals? I have animals in my location. I know the beavers live there. I know the other animals because I'm walking. I shoot it in my country house. I knew the place. I knew the forest. I said." But he said, no, it's too little here. And he went to another places and shoot all those animals, and except beaver, he shoot in my pond. The beaver is my pond. It is my cabin. It is my cabin. Yeah.
Yeah, that was also my question, because the site like looks fantastic, and really like I couldn't even say where in Lithuania this place is. There are like characters at some point talked about the seaside, but maybe it's just me mishearing. But like I didn't even know which part of Lithuania is this.
It's the middle part. It is quite close to capital, and it is very poor agriculturally, and it is quite abandoned place, and a lot of swampy forests around. Those forests are not nice because they are dark and swampy, and the earth is, it's clay, and then a lot of wild animals. It is a strange place, but I like it.
Somebody, if you have questions, just feel free to ask. One thing about the actors, I think, also is something I wanna ask you specifically. We talked about this younger generation. That was on the script characters, but we also have a kid, which for me was something really special. I haven't seen like a kid actor in Lithuanian cinema. I mean, in the last 20 years, that would be so distinct. So maybe you could tell more about general actors and why Lukas, why this set of actors, and specifically I'm interested in the actor, I forgot the name, the kid.
Rokas.
Rokas, right? Yeah.
I needed a kid who is really authentic, who is not an actor, who is not living in the city, who is not walking to, nice school and having good parents. I needed a kid who is really like a character. And we found a kid quite nearby the location where we shot the movie. He lost his mother, and he was living with his father, but not with his father because his father was always away. I was living with grandmother, but not with a grandmother because grandmother had some issues with her health. So he was living basically in a how to say this, asylum or vaikų namai.
Yeah, like orphanary. No, boarding school. I mean, it's quite
not a boarding school. Yeah, like boarding school, maybe closest. Yeah, closest. I think. Yeah.
Oh, so he literally is like a non-actor who.
He's not an actor, but he when I saw him, when he went, he was crying because he had a fight with the other boys who were boys in the bus. There was more boys coming to the for the casting test, and he had a fight with them because they took his lemonade. The grandmother made him lemonade. They took him and they teased him, and he was fighting with them, and he was crying. And he went, and I saw him. He went into the room. There's a camera, and the main actor Lukas waiting for him with me, and he was just crying, and he explained what happened. Yeah, we say a couple words to him, like just relax. It's not good. Yeah, but don't be angry. Yeah, okay. let's play some games. And I suggested him to make a dinner for the actor Lukas, but without any things. He has no things, no table, no cups, no plates. So invite him for the dinner and treat him, And he started to play like no problems. He was lifting imaginable cups, pouring a tea, asking what he wanted, and he was so involved in that. And I thought, yeah, his imagination is really, he's just forgot all his tears, and yeah, it's amazing boy. Yeah.
Anybody?
My dreams is not. I think is not important in the movie because I didn't reflect any of my dreams in the movie because all dreams are created. They are created for the purpose of the story, not my dreams. But I just took a mechanics how the dreams are, how it goes when you lucid dreaming and there's those fake waking ups when you feel that, yeah, okay, there was a dream. I understood that I'm dreaming. Yeah, this is a dream. I can control everything. And then I'm waking up. Yeah. And I'm trying to find someone to tell, yeah, I had a wonderful dream. I was controlling my dream, yes. And it's starting to speak, and I see something is wrong. I'm still dreaming. It could go like 3 levels down. It's really, really... really like a maze. Yeah. So I took some mechanics of how the dreams, how it operates. Yeah. We started from those scenes which you saw in the end, wedding on the ice, and then we took a break, and then it was in the end of the winter, and then we took a break, and then we proceeded to shoot in 1.5 months in 1 month in June. The same location. Yeah.
And what next plan, next movie? You have some?
Yeah, I have a lot. Yeah. Not all joints are connected, but I have one which is connected. I'm now finishing the writing. Yeah, it is family drama with sci-fi, very strong sci-fi component of yeah.
I was thinking maybe it's a little related, but like about other movies. I was thinking, what I can remember, what I watched from your films, and specifically a very vivid memory when I was like still, I think, at high school of I Am You.
Yeah, You Am I.
You Am I, which is, somehow related a little for me to this film in terms of that you were also interested in a person who kind of constructs alternative reality. It's not about dreaming, it's not about loss, but it's about being kind of living your own way, which is really sort of different from outside world, like reality, and this inner reality like becomes the kind of real reality, and then there is this question of what is outside, what is not. So I felt like you're kind of, with a very different topic, but a little like following similar structure or questions, and yeah, like your interest in some kind of alternative realities that are elaborated on your films and question maybe the realities we take for granted. Seems like it's a little of like a trace through your filmography, but or related just to You Am I specifically. Do you see the connections, or you thought about that?
Yeah, I do see, but it started yeah, it's my father's fault because he's a film critic and because I was raised in Soviet time and I couldn't see movies and he was telling me movies, telling the plots of the movies. He told me a lot. It was my favorite pastime with him. He was telling me plots of the movies and it was so interesting. But you can imagine, you don't see, but somebody is telling you the movie. And when, for example, much later I saw Shining, it wasn't so scary as my father told me that. The plot was, when he was telling, it was so scary, you know. Then I think that imagination is my main tool, because of that. Just remember that, because yeah, I like to imagine more than I can see, I can understand. My imagination brings me this, I can push myself out of the borders of the known. And always in my movies I try to find something which is completely unknown to me. That's why I never repeat myself. Yeah, you found similarities, but just with the one movie I made 6 or 5 maybe, yeah. So, yeah.
Any closing questions? I mean, I think we could.
They often say that religion is based on fear of death. Were you thinking about that while making your movie? Was there any component dealing with this statement, basically, or what's your opinion on that?
Religion is based on fear of death.
Yes. That's one of the explanations of religion. And then your character is rebelling, as you said, against death. Why isn't it based on that assumption? Or maybe he's not afraid of death, then why to rebel against it?
Maybe he's not afraid of death for himself, but he lost someone. Because for me, death is not real when I'm thinking that I'm gonna die. The thought, it seems unreal for me personally. But when I think that somebody else who is dear to me is gonna die, the thought is deadly real, and it's scary. So I think we are like that. We perceive the death when we are losing someone, but how we can experience our own death. We are alive, and we are not. Yeah.
They say that the world exists because I exist.
Mm.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, that is much closer to what we wanted to say, because and what you just said about alternative reality. The main character, he's rebelling against this inescapable law of death by creating his alternative world where he could escape loss of dear one. And of course, yeah, how it ends, I don't know. It depends from you how you got the movie, how you understood that. But I think imagination is a great thing, and you can create alternative reality. But still, you are like hostage of that. In any case, this is. Yeah, it could be dangerous, I think. Yeah, and I'm showing that how it could be dangerous, because yeah, in my dreams I also experienced that it could be really dangerous. After premiere in Vilnius, I met like a couple of guys who said, you depicted lucid dreaming very well, and in which level you are, they say to me. I mean, in level of lucid dreaming, yeah. I said, please tell me what you experienced in level 2, and they started to share. I said, okay, no, perhaps I was still and remain still in level 1, because what they share is really wild things, you know, yeah.
Like in terms of ending, I like that it's left for the viewer's interpretation, or as you say, imagination. You could see it as a happy ending or like a sad ending, because he's like kind of contaminated by that reality we don't know is good or bad, right? Like the reality which is like, you know, not the reality, like reality he wanted to be, but it's not. But on the other hand, maybe it's a happy ending, and I love that kind of double meaning in the end. And I remembered this film by Alain René, made in 1968, called Je t'aime, je t'aime, which is not about dreaming per se, but it's about the person who was resurrected from the dead by scientists. And it's also like kind of going through kind of these dreamy memories, but in the end is like almost opposite to your film's end, because it dies again, and it's like really cut. It's but like the reality wins. That reality for you is like it's opposite. You know, we like he's like meeting again. The you know.
Yeah, but who could say the last scene if it's reality or if it's a dream, because they're changing gifts, which seems a bit unreal if you look precisely. That disc, the CD, which is wooden, and those berries, how to call it, strawberries. He said it's breakfast for liars.
It might be a dream as well, right?
No, I would wish that it is this reality. It's not a dream, but sometimes I think that life itself reminds a dream, and sometimes like times we're living in, sometimes reminds a nightmare. But yeah, I don't know. Let's hope that the ending is true.
I think that's a good point to end the discussion with this hope. Thank you, Kristijonas.